Hello everyone, welcome. I am SotO. Welcome to a pre-SotO stream, and DJ Backtrack is floating in space. This will be a pretty medium-length short stream. I want to make sure I get some sleep tonight, but I'm looking forward to sharing my final pre-release thoughts with you, chilling, hanging out, maybe crafting a legendary or two, and getting this done. Yeah, exciting. Can't believe it. Release tomorrow. That's like kind of early in my brain. I don't know about this. I don't know if I'm ready. There's lots of previews up on the channel. If you haven't seen them, go check them out. They tweeted a final teaser before earlier in the day. Sorry, trying to multitask poorly. And it was pretty cool. It looks very, very Netflixy. Very, if you know that one Netflix show I'm thinking of, looks very much like that, so I'm assuming someone at arenanet has a Netflix account, but it's kind of exciting. I did not get the spoiler thing they teased in that original teaser. I feel bad about myself and my life decisions, but hopefully you don't, and hopefully you actually manage to catch on to what they were teasing. It's pretty cool, honestly. I'm pretty excited, actually, to fight more of Steve. All right, let's mute that. That, make sure this is coming through all right. Right, we're good. Looks good, sounds good. Exciting times in the world of Tyria. And exciting times in the world of Guildwars too. I had a bunch of people subscribe. Thank you for if you liked the shorts or if you just liked us finally clearing Harvest Temple and you wanted me to shut up about it. Really appreciate the support. It's kind of cool to see. Good to see people like hanging out, watching stuff. Chat and chilling, hopefully enjoying getting something out of the build videos I make. But yeah, we put in a pre-order for the dagger. Let's see what else we need to finish this up. I need to make a dagger. That'll be on the main agenda for tonight, as well as just hopping around the world, showing off Tyria, maybe dropping some guild ads. If you'd like to join our guild, it's the first time I've really plugged it on the stream, but you can check out vanguardsofascension.com. We're a US-based guild. But you're welcome to join if you wanted to be in EU and just have the chat. It's shared between EU and NA. So actually that might be wrong. No, the trading post is shared, the chat is not. But I just wanted to put that out there just in case anyone was curious. I get some questions occasionally for it. But we might do some PvP, we might do some roaming. I guess we could do roaming to start things off so it's not just completely dull and me putting in buy orders for a precursor no one cares about. But I'm building a dagger because Warrior's getting dagger tomorrow. I really realistically should be building two because I already have a legendary torch and a legendary pistol. With that being said, lots of professions are getting lots of other weapons. You know, they're getting the ability to share weapons between classes, which is kind of cool. Alright, let's see if anyone wants to do strike missions, since I'm getting distracted already. Experienced, we could VOD strikes, looking for all. I can do that. Can heal a lack. I'm a person who has, like, feelings and opinions on stuff. I need to buy more of these. We tried to clear the Harvest Temple again on Sunday. I didn't put it up on the channel because we didn't end up doing that. The reason being the fight, we got to Sue 2 right at the end of the fight a bunch, even though we had two of our main people who hadn't really seen that phase before. The fight actually bugged out on us like 3 times in a row, which is really discouraging. But hopefully we'll get that done at some point for them. Yeah, I can heal. I can do the healing thing, sir. We'll get those later. I want to just pick up my Oh, I put in a buy order. Shoot. Oh well. Alrighty. Should be good. Alright, let's go. Strike missions to start things off. Welcome! If you don't know what strikes are, they're mini raids. They're pretty cool. They give rewards, kind of like these rose petals falling all around me, but that's kind of the hardest thing in the game to do. They're mini raids, they're single instance, so if you want a raid reward, but you don't want to do the whole raid, you can try some strike missions. There's normal versions, which I'm assuming these people are doing, and then there's, you know, deluxe versions that are a little bit more challenging, usually. But Yeah, so that, like we've been working on the channel, we finally finished Harvest Temple, which is the hardest content in the game. Harvest Temple challenge mode, that is. The normal modes generally are like introductory versions and have very similar mechanics to what's included in the challenge mode, and then the challenge modes are like raid level difficulty. But everything does nuts damage now, so it's kind of whatever. All right, I'm pretty excited about that. Wow, we have 2 druids and neither of them are healed. That's whatever. He told me to heal. I'm healing. All right, let's go. Be good for me to get some heal Lack Bladesworn practice outside of just the one fight that I'm used to doing it on. But the one fight happens to be pretty difficult, so we'll see how this goes. These people's break sucks balls to start things up. Break skills, if you didn't know, are anything that does crowd control. Some are soft CC, some are hard CC. But hard CCs are things like stuns, knockdowns, knockbacks, launches. Any soft CC is things that do CC over time, like cripple, immobilize, not invulnerabilize, chill, stuff like that. If you are new, don't worry. Build crafting channel, so feel free to ask me any questions you might have about builds. If you're a veteran, also feel free, but you should know better. Just kidding. All right, I'm so excited for tomorrow. It's going to be the first time I've been really streaming consistently on release, so I hope you've enjoyed the content. I hope you, if you haven't, let me know. I'll try to make it a little bit better. But let me know how, I guess I should say. Constructive criticism is always appreciated, but I've been having some fun doing Harvest Temple and streaming my builds and stuff, and hopefully people seem to be liking it, so it's good. It's good. There's going to be some nuts stuff tomorrow. I'm going to try to have a short as soon as possible on all the data mine stuff that people put out. I'm going to label it like super spoilers, so, people don't see it if they don't want to, with an intro tag. And I'm also going to try to have a short on just rolling through all of the relics on the channel, as well as all of the new rune combinations. Relics may not be possible, because I don't know what the preview chest looks like that we're going to get for leveling up. Hey, Dekru, what's up? But we'll see. Hopefully the legendary runes will encompass all of the runes that are available in SotO on launch. I'm pretty excited either way. I've got some ideas already. The relics are going to be nutty. How is your prep going, Daikru? I hope you are getting it done. Yeah, I'm pretty hyped. No new weapons. I try to encourage people, even in my guild, to go look at that chart about like what we're actually getting on release, so they're not disappointed. Because reading is hard for people. But what we're getting tomorrow, out of the release things that they've mentioned for sure, are relics, no legendary relic, collections for 2 of the armor sets, not the legendary collection, but supposedly they will work toward it. My damage is but I'm supposed to be healing, so that's fine. Right. What else? 2 story passes, 2 story chapters, 1 more map later. We're getting 2 maps, new hub city. That's pretty exciting. I think that's the first time that mechanic has literally ever worked. That was very interesting. Need to go heal some people. So we are getting relics, the system. We're getting new 6 slot bonuses for the runes tomorrow. On top of like the selectable relics that you'll have for having any level 60 character. Don't know if those will be sellable, but we'll see. We're getting a buttload of weapons. We're getting the Wizard's Vault, which you talked about in our recent Box of Nails podcast, which is the new daily reward system. So make sure you get your daily logins now, as well as after the game drops tomorrow. Double up those rewards, but not really, because they'll be like different rewards, because the login reward system is going away. Let's see, what else are we getting? Nice. That's awesome, Dekru. He sold a gift to make a legendary. I think gets you some pretty good loot usually, and pretty good money. Hopefully the new reward system is good. Hopefully it's not too oppressive. They've said they tried to make it player friendly. There's no premium tier, so I'm very excited about that. Hopefully they can keep up the rewards, meaningful rewards that people need. Gold is always preferable, in my opinion, Daikru, because mats are going to be whatever. There's going to be probably some new mats. There's going to be, Mystic Coins are going to go either up or down. I prefer raw gold for expansion releases, but also there will be more trading post activity. So take that for what you will. And it also really depends if you're going to be online when the expansion drops, if that's something you can do, to, assuage your worries about having, what gold or mats or whatever it is. if you pick the wrong one. I want to see, I should load up Arc DPS and see if my damage is actually higher than anyone in this group, because if they, that's kind of sad, because I'm playing a healer. But I'm also playing a Bladesworn, which is pretty fun, so. I'm hoping we get, like, secret things they haven't announced, really. They haven't been able to announce whether or not we're getting a balance pass, but I hope we get a small balance pass to accompany the shared weapons thing. I'm really hoping they do some tune-ups for some of the existing classes, but I always hope we have balance passes. But this is a build crafting channel, so, you know, hopefully you do too. Yeah, I don't know. I liquidated some of my Mystic Coins, and I kept some of them. I might try to rush a Legendary Dagger tonight, but I know they mentioned in the Wizard's Vault, the new daily system, that there are going to be, like, pre-collections available for... This guy just ran me over. Good job, dude. There's going to be pre-collections available for some of the legendaries, so I don't know if I should try to do that tonight. Seems kind of like a bad idea. These people suck at using break skills. If you don't know what skills, you're playing a class and you don't know what any of your skills do and you don't want to go to the wiki, just look on your bar. Like, this shows that it has break. It'll be written in green, so that, and how much your skills do. Hey, Kashima. Hopefully you enjoyed the Dante video. I'm still finishing the edited version, but I managed to get a couple of the variants of the builds that I was trying to make with that. And I also made a Broken Druid video that, if you haven't checked it out, and you're listening to this in the VOD, go check it out. You can make it with the Selly gear you get for leveling up. It's a really good just all-around build, especially if your friends are pestering you about, like, that world versus world game mode that you don't know anything about. It's quite useful for that. But I will also be... I should have put this at the beginning of the video. I'll probably be streaming my playthrough of the story. I might break it up into chunks, but there's a good chance it'll just be one solid stream on YouTube and Twitch, and maybe Kick if I can get that working. But, you know, seems kind of a low priority at this point. But if you're going to be around for the release, or you just want some background noise, feel free to check that out. There will be spoilers, because obviously it's a story playthrough, so don't know what you're getting into, I guess. But, yeah. And that was a strike mission that I just talked over. And if you're just joining, if you have any questions, hit me up. Ask them in chat what you think you should do for the market, what you think you should buy. I was going to do a little bit of a... yeah, it's hard if you're a different time zone. But I'll be doing a little bit of my own SotO prep, so if you have any questions or anything that you think I might be able to answer, go for it. It's kind of fun for me to always, like, help people out and stuff and answer questions. But I'm always happy to do so. Right, cool. Yeah, it's kind of long. Don't worry about it, man. Looks like we lost one. We don't need 10 people. These are regular strike missions. They're not content. All right. Oh, I should go to my actual playlist that I can stream instead of my playlist that I can't stream, because it has notorious DMCA'd music. That's pretty good. Hour 2 after release, pretty good. I'll let the commander open this. I don't want to be a jerk. All right. A loot. Nope, don't want to open that. That's a pinnacle weapon box. I get those for achievements. Alright, alright. We did it. It's too good. Nice. Pretty good. What did you ask? Tomorrow... Oh, I can repeat it, sure. So tomorrow we are getting... the relic system is being introduced, which means they will also be putting new 6-slot bonuses on the existing runes. Which will be something to see, you know, whether it's just like an extra 25 power or whether it's, you know, 100 power. That'll be really interesting to just gauge where the balance direction of the game is going, even though everything's like super overpowered right now. We're not getting a legendary relic or a legendary armor on release. We're getting the new part of the story, not the full story. That'll be coming later, sort of like Living World. We're getting 2 new maps and the new hub world that you pointed out, sort of like Arborstone. I am assuming the story will take place in those 2 maps, but I also think a lot of it will take place in Corteria. because it'll be like going around. We're not getting the new weapons tomorrow, Daikaru, but we are getting the shared weapon system. So, for example, on Warrior, you'll be able to like equip Dagger on Bladesworn and whatnot. Hopefully, hopefully they you know, learn the error of their ways and you can use Gun Saber on Berserker, but I doubt it. that would be pretty fun. So I think we're good there. Yep. So new shared weapon system, probably because the new weapons weren't quite done. You know, Dante Guardian Wen with the pistol greatsword. That's going to be quite fun. What else are we getting? 2 maps. I can put the actually, I might still have this copied. Hang on, I can put it in chat. We had a really cool someone made an infographic that I wanted to make. .cc/SOTOR. Hang on. I am ready. Yeah, here's the infographic. I'll put this in chat. Try to link it in the description as well. Yeah, it's that's kind of a thing where it's everyone's mentioned. Hey, dude, what's up? Everyone's mentioned that like Gun Saber is more a profession mechanic than a weapon, even though Cal keeps saying it's a weapon. So I don't really even know what to call it at this point. Because if you want to call it a profession mechanic, then like, you know, Bladesworn technically has 2 trade-offs. So I almost died. Where it's like, you know, they lose weapon swaps and they lose their core burst skills. But if you want to call it a weapon, then it still like sort of has 2 trade. Then it only has 1 trade-off technically, where it just gets the Gun Saber and it loses burst skills. So I don't know. I know a lot of people are of mixed opinions on that. I don't know. I'm ambivalent, but I feel like it should get something a little bit more than it gets. But I'm also biased because it's my favorite profession, so take that with a grain of salt. Yeah. Let's see. What else are we getting? Can I banner this guy? I'm a god. Oh, 2 more people went down because no one has any idea how this raid works. This fight. All right. People are dumb. Hey, you take those Quaggins out if you've never done the strike mission before. You just want to, in general, in Guild Wars 2, you want to kite big, scary red circles away from people. Kind of tends to work out that way. I do want to try to be a little bit nicer when I'm running strikes, because I feel like the hardest thing to do in a strike mission, especially if you're new, is like ask questions. And because a lot of people are just like, oh, you should know how to do this. It's like, especially if this is not a challenge mode, you should definitely feel open to asking questions. I don't like the mentality of, oh, it's a raid light fight even. You shouldn't be you shouldn't be able to ask questions. I feel like that's dumb. Yeah, potions are a good prep thing. I did my whole SotO prep stream with a bunch of tips cut into shorts. The PvP and World vs. World potions, like Daikaru mentioned in chat, are very good to have just for expansion releases in general, because they let you blast through reward tracks. They're very good. Hopefully those stay around in some capacity. I didn't even think of that. You get those from dailies in World vs. World and PvP. Those are going to be in the Wizard's Vault now. You might want to hold on to those for an extra long time, Daikaru. Holy cats. I wonder how much those are going to be. Like what they're, Anet's valuing those at. That's really interesting. I didn't think about that. Well, yeah, they come from dailies. Like, how else would you earn them? You don't get them from, like, completing World vs. World tracks or anything, They've got to be in the vault. I mean, use them, like, preview the chests and use them, if someone's, there's a 50 sellable, 50 gold sellable item in there, that's not going to get better than that. Like, and the next expansion's at least two years away, but, use judgment too, because, if they're like, 1,000 astral acclaim or whatever it is, you might want to save those for something like extra good, but also 1,000 would be, I think, a little bit pushing it. That guy insta died. Yeah, if you didn't know, the new Wizard's Vault system comes with this currency called Astral Acclaim. So doing dailies will get you toward the total weekly limit. I think people are saying of 1,300. Logins are going to be a lot less. They're only 5 now, and you'll be more rewarded for doing your dailies. So we'll see how much of a conniption Reddit has for losing access to easy login rewards, but I think in the long term it will be quite good for the game. I think they've been a lot better about just in general news posts. Yeah, you don't swap to it as you would to a weapon, Kashima, but it takes the same function, right? And it's ostensibly shares a cooldown with weapon swap, even though it's affected by alacrity, but not things like lush forest. So I don't know how I feel about it really. It is what it is. It's Gunsaber at this point. Yeah, I think people are assuming that 1300 is I don't know, like weekly, and then the monthly is going to be like something else. And it's always, you know, we don't know if it's the max rewards are going to be like set weekly, monthly, daily, all three, you know, some arbitrary time period because this is arenanet. I guess we'll find out. Yeah, it's supposed to be an NG kit is what it is, but then, and like the trade-off with NGs, you know, they don't get weapon swap, but the counter argument to that is like NGs have multiple kits, so, you know, why doesn't Warrior? But it is definitely, like, this is definitely Warrior NG edition. NG is, I don't know, NG Necro edition because it has a summon in End of Dragons. We're talking about the specializations, which are kind of like extra professions, like more just new classes you can equip if you're like a warrior and engineer. Warriors can equip Berserker or Spellbreaker or Bladesworn, which is the one we're talking about where it gets the Gunsaber, which is what I'm playing. And then engineers can equip things like, normally they get access to kits because they don't have weapon swap, kind of similar to Elementalist, but they can equip like Scrapper or Mechanist, and what's the last one? Hollowsmith. I like this setup I've got going. I refined it a little bit so there's hopefully a little bit of a chat, less of a chat delay. Yeah, I know, right? Pistol's really good. Pistol has, you know, two basically three ammo skills because, right, you can use the 5 even if you're trying to proc Lush Forest 3 times. You, like, now that the 4 has ammunition on pistol, you can basically do 5 and then 4 and then 5 again to proc 3 seconds of Lush Forest instead of just like the 2 that you could do before, or rather the 1, because 4 didn't have ammunition. So yeah, I mean, use sword pistol, man. Yeah, it's weird that they gave. I have to wonder how, you know, how long ago. This is when they debuted Bladesworn. I had to wonder how long ago they sort of like were working on it, because a lot of warrior things, sort of like the physical skills, got ammunition a really long time ago, and so did shouts. So the building blocks were, or at least the ideas were there for a really long time. Pistol, I think, is just going to be a great weapon in general, especially for Spellbreaker, actually, on Warrior, because Spellbreaker, I think, in PvP runs, like, defense, discipline right now anyway, and if Spellbreaker has Aegis, with Shieldmaster being as bugged as it is, that's going to be extremely strong. There's a trait on Warrior called Shieldmaster, which, whenever you block an attack, if you're blocking, you also reflect projectiles, but there's a boon in the game that you can give yourself with a pistol called Aegis, which looks like this, where you just block one incoming attack, but it's bugged on Warrior, so if you have Aegis at all and Shieldmaster equipped, you'll just reflect all of the incoming projectiles, and it's extremely powerful, despite being a bug and despite being like in the game since the game started. They have not changed it, so that's gonna be really interesting to see. I think pistol's the one I think most excited for in other professions. I think it's a very strong weapon. Torch is pretty bad. Offhand dagger's pretty bad. Main hand dagger's all right. It's a block, but it works the same way if you have like a offhand mace or an offhand sword or a main hand mace Kashima, where it's only supposed to block one attack, but while you have the block up, it will just read that you are blocking attacks and reflect all the projectiles. Even though the main hand mace block skill and the offhand sword block work technically sort of differently, where offhand sword, if you don't have Shieldmaster equipped, this is some deep Build Wars 2 here, but I assume that's why people are watching this. The offhand sword on Warrior will continuously block projectiles if you don't have Shieldmaster equipped, whereas the mace will only block one hit. So it's all different, and it's all crazy, and you kind of just need to know the nuances of this game for stuff like that. It's a time window, but it's not supposed to work like that. warrior just for you know, a really long time. It couldn't give itself aegis, so the issue wasn't as prevalent when the game started because, you know, guardian had to give you aegis. The one that gets me is it's really weird that electric fence, when traded, when you have shieldmaster, doesn't block projectiles, because electric fence is just a projectile blocked, and then, you know, with shieldmaster you would think that it would reflect projectiles, but it just doesn't, which is very weird. All right. Yeah, if you have any questions about builds or SotO in general, I'm trying to enunciate that a little bit better, because I kind of mangle it. Let me know. Let's see, I'm trying to long-form answer Daikuru's question as well about what else we're getting tomorrow. I don't know. I mean, it reads it blocks projectiles, like, on the tooltip. But Corrosive Poison, it probably functions like Corrosive Poison Cloud or CPC, where it just destroys projectiles, and it actually reads that on the Corrosive Poison Cloud tooltip, I think. So yeah, you're probably right. Or it just eats them. That's interesting. Open worlds, I honestly will probably just run my half diviners, half Selly build, but I'm lazy, because I'm lazy, and that's what I've been running for Harvest Temple. Maybe with an axe and a pistol, but so don't expect my damage numbers to be amazing. But hopefully it'll get me through the content. Like, I'm critting for, you know, 10k on that. I'll be alright. We'll see. Maybe I'll switch to full Berserker Bladesworn. Unsure. I don't do a lot of open world. Yeah. I think they're just, in general, people, because they have to do everything individually and all the tooltips are written individually, like, the worst one forever was Mesmer, right? Like, when the game launched, it was like, with an illusion active, and you're like, what is an illusion? And people didn't even know there was a split between phantasms and clones and stuff, like, that those were different types of illusions for Mesmer, and it was like, oh my god. Yeah, that's kind of my feeling with the Daikuru is I'm just gonna, you know, get through some content, hopefully have some fun. I don't need to be doing matched DPS, and then if we run into the meta, hopefully I'll be able to give some boons as well. Which they've said is we're getting 2 metas. I think they said one is going to be extremely difficult. So that's exciting. Give people something to work on. Where are you down, sir? I got you. Banner. True. Can probably be quite profitable, especially with I don't want to say grindy, but how repeatable this expansion seems to be shaping up to be. I think the new metas will be pretty good for that. Wondering how I was critting for like 50k. Oh, because of the stacked sigil, maybe, in our Harvest Temple runs. It's doing a lot more damage, but it's also Dragon Trigger, so who knows. Yeah, the tooltips for this game are awful. If you're playing a class, go to the wiki. Like, you wouldn't even think that Willbender would be able to give AoE alacrity, but it, like, reading the tooltips, but it can. Yeah, it's really good. Kashima, it's some other stuff you can do with that. Like, he's talking about a trait that, when you have offhand dagger on Spellbreaker, you get to, like, heal for outgoing damage. There's some other fun stuff you can do. You can put on, like, what is it? Sanctuary runes, and then you'll build barrier too as you heal. It's like pretty cool. Yeah, the wiki's really good for not only just how the skills work and how they're read, like how they should read, but also like a lot of the nuances if you click on the notes section for like how skills. Not just for tooltips that are just blatantly incorrect, but also for like tooltips that just don't function like you think they would, like Shieldmaster and stuff. The wiki for this game is outstanding. That's something my friends actually encountered when they went to play Lost Ark, was the wiki for a new game like Lost Ark, or one that's being translated from Korean, you know, is very lacking. And I honestly think the devs probably get some of the information to the wiki people a little bit early so they can kind of prep for it. Same thing with the build editor guy at this point. Shout out to McLeod or McLeod for maintaining it as long as he has. Build editor's awesome. I basically live in there. Oh yeah, it was a call string for just how the skill was supposed to work, but no, it's not fixed. Kashima, what it actually says now is that you can still re-enter Dragon Trigger even though you can't. All Daring Dragon does is do more damage per charge than it normally does, limit you to 5 charges, and grant alacrity. It doesn't have any of the functionality that I liked, and it's really sad. Where you could use it for PvP and stuff. Hopefully they bring it back, but yeah, it's completely wrong still, the tooltip for Daring Dragon. Don't get me started on that. It's kind of a pain in the butt. Yeah, it was just, dude, this guy ran over me. Good. For a while, the tooltip was just a call string for an empty tooltip that didn't exist, and now it's just they just reuse the old tooltip. But put alacrity on it. Which is, it's whatever, but it's annoying as somebody who wants the old functionality of the trait back. Yeah, it's like Omega feels bad. I can't tell. I have a whole thread. I try not to be too vocal on their forums, but I had a whole post on like, hey, arenanet, can you put the alacrity on like anywhere else, like Immortal Dragon or something that people legitimately aren't using on their forums? And it got a bunch of upvotes. Like, if you haven't seen that, go check it out. And that'll be all that I'm saying on that tonight. But yeah, one of the comments on it was like, hey, if you're not going to fix this, can you just like change the tooltip so it stops baiting us? It's pretty bad. Hopefully they get to that, or hopefully, you know, realistically they just change it back so it has the repeated slash functionality, because that was cool. Yeah, Wiki has a lot of it has a lot of them. It doesn't have all of them because, you know, there's so many, especially nowadays we're getting lots more balanced updates, but it does have a lot of skill and traits that synergize and stuff. It's pretty good. I'm gonna tank this guy, Mr. Tag. I am absolutely going to do that. Go away, sir. Well, he's gonna do it, whatever. I just heal my bros. Maybe I should at some point explain strike missions, but there are YouTubers like Muckluck for that. He does a pretty good job of explaining how to do strike missions and stuff. This stays active. Fun fact, that laser still active even though it's not a big red line on the ground. Don't run into it or you'll die. There's my tip. Yeah, this came up in our podcast. Warriors, there's this misconception between Warrior being bad and I think it's balance just being bad, right? Like, Warrior is not bad right now. There's definitely things like Unshakable Mountain and traits on it that make it functional in like all the game modes. I mean, I just beat Harvest Temple with it. I wouldn't have been able to do that if, you know, it's the hardest fight in the game. I wouldn't have been able to do that if it was completely bad, right? It's just the balance on it, like how they do it is, granted there are useless traits on kind of every profession, but the ones on Warrior are really egregious, like, you know, dual wielding in arms and stuff that's like literally useless, and it's a Grandmaster. That's what's annoying to me about Warrior balance, where, you know, without going down the Warrior complaining balance hole, it's just, hopefully it gets some love at some point. I mean, it clearly is getting PvE love, right? Whether or not I agree with how they did it, it gets alacrity now. I'm playing Healing Warrior in the strike mission. I can't complain about it. It's not what I would have prioritized, but it's, you know, most popular game mode. Yeah, Spellbreaker's really simple and it's really strong. Give it basically a full counter from fighting games. Give it a parry. It's really cool. Spellbreaker is neat. Works really well with discipline. It works really well with any other trait line you want to take. Yeah. Yeah, Martial. So that's kind of like, if you want to know my opinions on Warrior balance, it's the Martial Cadence thing, where Martial Cadence, they just basically made it not give quickness in PvE because that was too strong, and then they made it not give stability in World versus World because it was too strong. Yeah, so it just has a useless trait again. It's so dumb. Like, they just wanted to make that trait functionally useless till they could do something better with it in both game modes, so now, you know, it's just useless. And that's Warrior balance. Oh, you're fine, dude. Spellbreaker, I think, is honestly better designed. I think on release Berserker was better designed. I think Bladesworn was an afterthought because they had to give it a weapon that they didn't want to balance, or they didn't want to balance all the all the existing weapons before End of Dragons, and that's what they did, and it worked out. I'd like to see them update like Greatsword and offhand sword and stuff, or offhand mace, but it is what it is. I honestly also like to see them make the Gunsaber 2 skill do literally anything, and the 3 work with the rest of the kit. But that's, go watch my other videos if you want to hear me just complain about Bladesworn for hours. It's definitely a thing. I think it's got a lot of potential. Really cool concept. At least it's conceptually, Bladesworn is cooler than like Catalyst. Catalyst just is very strong, but kind of got boned, in my opinion. I think Catalyst needs a complete rework, and I think Bladesworn needs about a half a rework if they want to do it right. But we'll see if they get the development budget or priorities to do that. Yeah, it's really cool. Give it a Gunsaber, give it, basically make it Virgil from Devil May Cry. That's why it has the, melee offhand chargeable pistol. That's why it has literally, the sword that looks like... Or not Virgil, stupid brain, sorry. Nero from Devil May Cry, where it has, his, his sword that he can rev up. It's literally Nero from Devil May Cry is this class. But the execution on it is just... Yeah, and then shove it into an Asian, Eastern setting. And it's cool. I just wish it, you could stow your Gunsaber and it had a bunch of polish on it. Okay, they're not doing Harvest Temple. Too bad. Harvest Temple's fun. Yeah, it's literally Nero. And then it has overcharged cartridges, it has, Dragon Trigger. It has all this stuff, and then they just shoved it into End of Dragons. And they made it, they made it functional, especially on release. It had Daring Dragon. You could refresh shouts, which was stupid but OP. Hopefully, it just gets some. It's very strong in PvP right now. Well, it's moderately strong in PvP right now, and the reason that it's strong, and I had this discussion with Sulfur, it's not bad. But the reason it's not bad is not because Bladesworn is cool or the Gunsaber skills are useful. It's because Unshakable Mountain is in the game. And Unshakable Mountain is a trait. One of the strongest traits I've ever seen put in the game, where you just... Whenever you use the last charge of any of these ammunition skills, you get 1,000 barrier. Which is insane. If that was in, Path of Fire release or Heart of Thorns release, that'd be nuts. It's a nuts trait. It's just super damage mitigation. But, you take that trait away, and Bladesworn's not good. It's just Bladesworn with Unshakable Mountain. You're playing Unshakable Mountain. You're not playing Bladesworn. But there's lots of stuff like that. It's spammable. Obviously I want Daring Dragon back. Something I found out today, perusing the Warrior forums, they actually did finally add 1 second cast reduction to Dragon Trigger if you have Discipline traded. Instead of just the Gunsaber skills getting reduced by 15%. So that Discipline, I think it's Versatile Power trait that reduces the cooldown of burst skills, actually does something on Bladesworn now. Which it just didn't basically before, but it's whatever. Here's the thing I want to try to bring this up and away from me just complaining about Warrior for a moment. Sort of like what Kashima said in chat, he mentioned that if you have Bladesworn, if you have some notion of timing, it's very spammable. If you can build all the flow you need for that, that's definitely true. I really don't like the macro effect that the last balance patch, where they give alacrity and quickness to every specialization in some form, sort of had on the game as a whole, because it sort of just made a lot of the classes in PvE, excuse me, sorry, as well as World versus World and PvP, very spammy, where you just button come off cooldown, you press button, you win fight. A good example of this is Bull's Charge and Stomp. two very long cooldown. Well, this is in or PvE, so I guess it's a little bit different. But two very long cooldown physical skills that are quite good. Used to have very long cooldowns. Now are like 24 seconds just base in PvP, which is extremely, extremely good. It's very, very, very strong. And if you know anything about PvP, you know that that means that a lot of other skills on other professions, like Ranger right now, are also very low cooldown. So there isn't a lot of consequence to whiffing with a button if you can kite for a long time. Consequently, that means in PvP, a lot of like full berserker builds are very strong right now because you just take berserker's amulet, you do your burst, and then you spam all your defensive cooldowns, and then your burst is back up. Whereas in a meta where cooldowns in general, just across the board for every class or profession as they're called in this game, are longer, the meta's a lot less just sustained burst heavy, if that makes any sense, and there's more punishment for missing a very powerful skill like Bull's Charge or Sikkim on Soul Beast or something like that. And if I do some PvP later, you can kind of see what I mean, where it's just kind of I prefer personally, I like when things are dumb, Daikaru. He asked me what I prefer. I don't know, especially with the classes the way they are. I'd like to I prefer this isn't, I'll answer your question, but I want to add this. I prefer more of a skill split, if that makes any sense, where like Bladesworn has alacrity in World versus World, but it might as well not. It might as well have alacrity or Daring Dragon, where I don't like when they take traits away to just basically fill that role in PvE, which is what they seem to do with a lot of classes. In the last balance patch, they did it with Untamed, where they took the cooldown reduction trait away, which is very cool because it was unhealthy for PvE. So that doesn't exist. That being said, I think just where things were a little bit above this, I think everything's getting a little too nuts, but I also do like when everything's nuts because it makes for very interesting build combinations. Kind of like that druid build that I made on the channel where it can just do every condition in the game. I think that's very interesting, but it comes down to your preference, right? You know, if you're enjoying a build that's not necessarily healthy, but if you enjoy it, you know, that's a personal subjective opinion. So my opinion there, my take isn't the right one. It's just my take. There is a lot of movement on Kashima and Bladesworn. I actually managed to yeah, Soul Beast Hammer. I don't know if I'll be able to get that on the channel right away, Daikaru, but just basically do the one that I linked you and throw a hammer instead of a greatsword. Yeah, Boon Beast Hammer, or at the very least Soul Beast Hammer instead of greatsword with like a gazelle pet or something like an eagle that can kite and give you a buttload of movement is definitely going to be a thing. It's going to be very strong. There is a lot of movement on Bladesworn Kashima, which is very cool. I was fighting two people and I couldn't really do damage to either of them, but in World vs. World the other day, I managed to have a dude whisper me, and it wasn't a toxic whisper for once in my life from World vs. World. It was like, hey dude, what is your build? Because I have tried everything to get Bladesworn to work in World vs. World, and I have not, you know, I tried, and all the recommended ones, I tried the trait that does stun on Dragon Trigger, and he couldn't get it to work, and I was like explaining to him, like, you know, it doesn't really do damage in World vs. World, but it has a lot of really good tools. Like, I've recently been playing around with Lush Forest, the trait that also decreases cooldown reduction every time you use the top or the first ammunition skill. So, like, if I use this in PvE, it'll actually, like, watch this cooldown, and then that's recharging, and I use this, and it'll jump this up by 1 second. I didn't lag there, hopefully. It just jumps it up by 1 second. That's Lush Forest. So with the alacrity that they have access to now in World vs. World, if you run something like a lot of boon duration, like full diviners, as well as Lush Forest, you can get, and the stance trait, which increases the duration of your stances, you can be very tanky and just rotate stances basically off cooldown. Like, this stance ended, I'll press this one. This stance ended, I'll press Defiant Stance. And just have, like, almost always a stance up, which almost all of them mitigate damage in some way, all the good ones that people would use anyway. And it's pretty good. Like, if you can build some Condi reduction in there, like some Ascended food for, you know, decreased Condi duration and just rotate your stances off cooldown, it's pretty strong, honestly. Let's see if people... I love that people normally can't break bars, and then, like, this fight starts and everyone wants to break the bar. It's so funny to me, and then those people are dead because they don't know what red AoEs mean. Oh my god. I'm gonna write that in chat. It's funny. Yeah, you can just sort of rotate stances, and then they give barrier, yeah, if they're traded. You don't need Runes of the Weaver, which are maybe going away tomorrow. The stance trait just does that. And the cool thing about the stance trait, Kashima, in defense, when they actually did a pass, whoever did the pass at defense actually thought about this, and it gives the barrier after the stance ends, so that, like, if you press Defiant Stance, for example, and it also gives the protection after they end, so you're not chewing through that protection in order to get healed or damage, you know, the barrier while the stance is active. It's actually, like, really cool, and it also probably means that those stances are going to stay in the game for a little bit. I've thought they were going to remove Defiant Stance forever, which is the Warrior Heal skill, Warrior Heal Stance, if you didn't know. Because it basically makes you not only invulnerable, it's Warrior's 1 invulnerable button, but it also makes you heal for any incoming damage dealt, which is very strong. Granted, it takes the slot of your heal, but Warrior has other ways now that it can kind of heal itself passively, as well as, like, burst heal if you take the shout trait. So it's just a very good button in general. So they actually thought of that, which gives me hope for Warrior for the future. I think they're going to slowly get to it. I think their next port of call is sadly going to be arms. I hope they don't change too much in arms because I like a lot of the traits. I also think a lot of the traits are just completely useless. So hopefully they change the useless ones that people just aren't using, like not burst mastery and not burst precision and whatever the signet trait is. I actually really like the signet trait, but they've said they want to do away with those in the long run, so we'll see how it goes. It's not instacast. I wish it was. It says 1/4. It is absolutely longer than 1/4 second. It's somewhere. If you didn't know, in this game, tooltips round. They actually don't round in the way I thought they did. So if a skill says, like, it doesn't have a cast time, in general that means it's instacast, but it's not always, because there's a signet on Warrior. It's like the Condi Cleanse one. I can't think of it right now. I can't think of which one it is, but the Condi Cleanse signet on Warrior will actually... It says it doesn't have a cast time, but it does. So it just rounds the cast time, but it's somewhere between 1/0 and 1/4. And the cast time on Defiant Stance says 1/4, but I guarantee you it's longer than that, and it's as close to 1/2 as it can be. Because I have had so many times in PvP where I'm spamming that, and I'm not stunned, and I'm unable to cast it, because I'm just getting repeatedly CC'd. So... I don't know what it is, but it's not instant, I can guarantee that. It is the lowest cast time by far of any of the Warrior heals, though. And it is a very good option. You are right about that. Defiant Stance, very strong. I think it will be very strong for a very long time, and hopefully remain in the game for a very long time. Because I've seen a lot of people in PvP actually using it, like Berserkers I've been fighting. Because, you know, the idea is, even base it... I can't get this guy, I don't think. I'm not going to be able to heal through that. No way. And my banner just came off cooldown. Darn it. Maybe it didn't. I was paying attention to chat. Yeah, I've seen a lot of the Berserkers running Defiant Stance. I've seen a lot of the Spellbreakers running Defiant Stance. Because the idea is, right, like, you don't have a heal skill, but, you know, you don't have to deal with Condis for those 5 seconds while you're, you know, letting them heal you when you press Defiant Stance, and then maybe they've expired. So maybe you've managed to kite to somewhere where you're not being threatened by Condis and stuff. I'm gonna res this guy. This build is so good for carrying pugs. Just full Selly Spellbreaker, or Bladesworn if you're wondering, or you need a build for release, will get you quite far. Yes, Mending is very, very, very strong still as well. Just cleanses conditions, very strong heal skill. Warrior's one strength I think that it's always had is just very strong heal skills regardless. So hopefully that trend continues. I don't need, and to be clear, I do not want warrior to be overpowered. If anything, I enjoy it because it's kind of like the odd, you know, the black sheep of Guild Wars 2, in my opinion. I might not even enjoy it to the extent that I do if it was good. Like really, really good. I really don't know. Because for a really long time I played Necromancer, and that was awful before Heart of Thorns. Even with Reaper, it was kind of awful. It was a really long time before anything but Condi Reaper was viable. That being said, people always ask me, you know, or meme, you know, Sulfur likes to meme on me for my warrior complaining. I don't think warrior's bad. I just think the balance on it's bad, but I think they're getting there. So, well, you know, give the guys the benefit of the doubt and see what they do post-SotO release. Who knows? Maybe there'll be a relic that just reads, you know, whenever you use a burst skill, you refresh your burst skill, so it has Daring Dragon that way. How are people dying? I don't understand. I am healing you people. Oh my god. People are dumb. This fight's easier with fewer people. Easy. Fine. It's red. I haven't done this fight in so long. You basically have to CC these guys in order, and then on the challenge mode it's random. Yeah, I like an underdog, but often, you know, things are an underdog because they're, you know, poorly thought out. Although I genuinely do think Catalyst was worse. I think Catalysts both has, we kind of I talked about it on this podcast, so sorry if you already listened to this and it's a repeat, but Catalysts, both design and execution, were kind of butt. Catalyst is very powerful still in PvP, even though they nerfed it. Like, it was literally the only thing that was played last PvP season if you were at a decent enough, or a high enough ranking, which is called ELO in this game, I believe, or I could just be wrong, because it was so good. It was basically impossible to play anything that wasn't Catalyst because Catalyst was just that much more powerful than everything else. And one of the reasons it's more powerful is it's just a stat machine. It just gets free stats. You don't have to spec into it. Favorite warrior trait line, I think arms. Just because no one uses it, and I think it's really underrated. I think discipline is the strongest. Even on Bladesworn, I think discipline is the strongest. And discipline has the most potential, but like... we wiped again, jeez. This is good background to like talk over. Defense is the one they buffed most recently, so it has everything. I was actually thinking about this when I was like trying to figure out what to run in World versus World right now for my weird Bladesworn builds, which are never meta at all, usually. Defense gives a little bit of everything, but I honestly think that outside of discipline, all the warrior trait lines are kind of the same right now. Except for arms, which is just kind of a worse version of everything. Where strength gives you some damage, some healing, and some stability. Defense gives you some damage, some healing, and some stability. Granted, there's other stuff in there too, like the stance trait, and then, you know, the one that lets you proc stances off the elite skill, because it was the most recent one modified, so it's probably the strongest. Tactics is damage, healing, and stability, depending on how you trade it, or more healing. And arms is just different types of damage. And that's really weird, right? Like, I didn't really think about other classes and whether or not they have more than that, but like Ellie, I feel like you get some auras from some stuff, some res traits thrown in there on different classes, transfusion on Necro, like stuff that affects your burst skills, really, which are, I mean, there's a couple in discipline, but again, that's the one I left out, right? That's the one that does some different stuff. So I don't really know, right? Like, I wish they would do more with martial cadence. Yeah, the discipline speed trait. You mean the warrior step or whatever it's called, the first one you can take, Daikru? It's cracked. It's ridiculous. What's this guy? I knew. People don't know Bladesworn can heal. Oh, it's funny. I maybe, depending on who's asking. Twitch dude. Why? Yes, Warrior Sprint's nuts. It's crazy. But yeah, I took over EG when our old guild leader kind of went to go live his life and be a doctor. Yeah. I sort of turned it into Vanguards of Ascension, got rid of a lot of the drama. So that was a thing. That was a thing that happened. Yeah, defense is pretty good. It's got some hammer stuff. The on CC stuff is very strong, although I think a lot of it's repetitive with the CC trait in strength giving weakness, as well as the burst skill giving weakness. Yeah. That was one of the big issues. We kicked the monthly AT. Although the weird thing is, like, arenanet openly, I'm not even going to be shy about this. Arenanet just openly condones cheating and selling the monthly ATs now. Like, Team USA does it all the time. So, granted, they ruined the monthly AT, but in my opinion, that was going to happen eventually anyway. I also did push for those people to be kicked out of the guild, and that's one of the reasons that Fion stopped playing, and I kind of just wanted to keep it going because I liked a lot of the people in EG, and I still love the community. We still have a lot of the people that were, lived through that, but I just wanted to do something good with the community, and I think I've been able to do that. We have a lot of really solid members. I have no idea. I'm gonna be really interested to see, Daikru, what relics do, period. Like, a lot of them, the thing with Kishima is the weakness CC, I wish it was on a time delay so that both applications of weakness, or one of them was, could proc aristocracy runes. He probably ripped the stab, if it was a spellbreaker, or maybe ripped it with a sigil or something. Absorption or nullification or both are quite strong on spellbreaker or even berserker. So he probably just managed to rip it, like, because the cool thing is you proc, like, a spellbreaker procs the CC, and then if they're running that trait that rips an extra stab or an extra boon, it'll actually rip the stab even if it didn't actually CC you sometimes. So yeah, okay, then it must have, I really don't know, nullification maybe. But yeah, it's definitely a thing. I don't know, Daikru. I'm going to be more interested to see what... Because they've shown off a couple of the runes, and all the runes that they showed off were variations of existing ones we have, like Sunless or Undeath, or they had those couple, like Relic of the Wizard's Tower. Sorry, I misspoke. Relics, not runes. Interesting. My hairdresser just texted me, getting back to me about an appointment. But yeah, stuff like that. The relics that have, like, cooldowns and they do something on elite skill, and they've said what's really interesting, to me at least, is the duration of the relic effect will actually scale with the duration of skill you use. So if you use supposedly like a really long duration or really long cooldown, rather elite skill like battle standard or some kind of racial, it'll actually just, maybe stay up for a really long time. So that'll be really interesting to see, but I don't know. What I'm more interested is relics that, like, have a shorter cooldowns or no cooldown, right? Like Relic of the Thief that they mentioned forever ago, which will take place of the bonus from Rune of the Thief, where it just gives you damage bonus. Or like if there's a Relic of Antitoxin, that's gonna be awesome. I so want to just run Antitoxin runes on power builds because it's just such a good 6-slot bonus. I really hope things like that stay. And granted, I loathe Trapper Druid, which is one of the reasons I made a build on it. But I hope things like Trapper runes kind of do stay, but I hope there's options for other skill types. Like, it's not just traps that have, specific runes for them and such. They're making Skyscale easier to obtain, but in order to get full masteries with it, that is something, sorry, to get back to Daikru's question, what we're getting on release. They are making a Skyscale collection on release easier to obtain, which will probably tie into the story because they mentioned that flying combat will be a necessity, which is very interesting since there's only really one combat mount in the game right now, the turtle, and it kind of sucks in my opinion. But that's neither here nor there because they're making the Skyscale into a flying combat mount that will be flying enemies, and they're making it easier to obtain. So all of those things, the flying combat, the mount in general, stuff like that, will be assumedly on release. But in order to get full masteries with it, like the ability to take updrafts or benefit from updrafts, I think was on one of those charts that they released. You will need both, Living World Season 4 masteries as well as the new masteries for the Sky Scale. So that's going to be quite interesting. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. I'm super excited. See, this is one thing I don't like. That dude, I mean, granted, the dude was supposed to be tanking it over here, but, like, we couldn't really do anything about that. Like, we had to be in that circle as well as, like, I just healed everybody through it because it's normal mode and who cares, but, like, also we had to be in that circle and he was off in space in, like, a red field. Griffins will also be able to take updrafts. They are not a flying combat mount, but it's, yeah, the flying mounts will be able to take updrafts and ley lines and stuff. They showed that off in a couple of the teasers as well. And actually, the person with a really good video on that arenanet allowed to do a preview of, I think Weeping Willow is the YouTuber that does all of the mount previews and whatnot, like the beautiful fly-throughs of, like, sky courses and stuff. They actually gave her early access and she did, like, a fly-through of one of the maps. First off, the map is gorgeous. Second off, Sulfur is totally right, and her preview makes the map look even better because she shows off, like, what you'll be able to do with the Griffin and stuff. So go check that out if you haven't seen it. It's really, really cool. Props to her for getting that. That was an incredible, incredible thing. I don't think we're getting 3 mastery lines on release. The 4th one is coming later. I think they said what they will be. I don't remember, though. One of them has to do with closing rifts. One of them has to do with, like, the sky scale and the flying mounts, and the other one is, like, I don't know, sky fishing or something. I forgot. Sky fishing would be dope, but I have no idea what the 3rd one is. I guess we'll find out tomorrow. Maybe they didn't tell us. But the masteries, the thing that I'm really excited about, even though they don't seem like they're cross-game mode, masteries seem useful. The Griffin's really cool because it has a lot of things that they just don't tell you. Like, this game is the best MMO, and again, it's the worst at telling you stuff. It was probably 2 years into me having the Griffin before I found out there's, like, a turbo dive you can do, and you need to do that to complete a lot of the Griffin courses with, like, gold timing. Kashima. And you need to, like, press the mount key because it doesn't work for me on a controller for whatever reason. Like, the input doesn't translate, so when I do the, like, super dive input, it just doesn't work. So I didn't know that existed. So I was trying to get gold, and I was like, how are these people getting these timings? And there's, like, a mega boost you can do after you do, like, a really deep dive on the Griffin, if you didn't know. And they don't tell you that in the regular course of the game. And I was like, how are these people doing this? And that's how. It's crazy. If you do Griffin flying right, like with a keyboard, the proper inputs, it's like a jet plane. It's really cool. There's some amazing courses you can make. I think my favorite, just conceptually, is still the roller beetle, though, just because they put a motorcycle in the game. I had a lot of fun with that when they put it out. I still really want to know who the crap won the car they were giving away or whatever it was. It was like a $30,000 car or a $20,000 like prize pool or something that they had for doing in-game races. I want to know who won that because I guarantee they just took the money. But if they even had somebody respond at all, but it's on the list of funny arenanet promotions their marketing team has done, that one's definitely always tickled the back of my mind. Yeah, new flying combat mount masteries, new rift masteries that are hopefully more than just, hey, you can now close harder rifts. I never played Rift, but it seems to be they're just taking the systems from that MMO a little bit. So we're getting harder, like more raid-like rifts apparently later. So probably soft introduction to them with SotO released tomorrow and then a little bit more. But again, if you're just joining, I am SotO. I do lots of build crafting. People hanging out. This Kashima and Daikru, they're regulars on the channel. They're really cool dudes. If you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them. I will be streaming my playthrough all day tomorrow at noon. Well, not all day until I go to the gym, so hopefully it gets done before then. Hopefully it's less than 4 hours long. But maybe not. Maybe we get like more than 4 hours of content. Who knows? I really don't know. But either way, I think it's really worth the price of... Can I target the right boss? the price of $25, I think it's definitely worth it. Yeah, it'd be really cool if you could like fly between maps in Corteria, you know, without the transition. That'd be pretty sweet. I'd be pretty okay with that. There we go. We managed to not wipe. I said right now. Where's this guy? I'm gonna save you, dude. I got you. Res banner. OP! It's too good. Heal warrior, chat. It's a thing. Beetle's so much fun. Oh my gosh. And it's so much easier to get than like all the, you know, other prestige mounts or whatever than like the Griffin. Or the Skyscale, obviously, right now anyway. The Beetle's so much fun. It's a collection, I think, in Living World something or other, but it's so good. Or 4, I think. It's a lot of fun. Alright. Well, we got that done. You guys are hanging out. What would you like to see me clown around in? Do some PvP, I can do some world versus world. I can just see if my buy order for this legendary item filled. I can make that while I chat. It is up to you guys. This, make sure that's loaded. Good. It's painful when you crash. Well, it's less painful than real life, let's say that much. Well, I'll run through my characters while I figure out what I'm gonna do. I can do some roaming. I'd have to update my build. I have one sort of just temporary for pre-SotO release, but we'll see. I think axe pistol is definitely the strongest weapon combination on Bladesworn right now, but oh yeah, go to bed if you don't let me keep you up. Get your work done so you can play video games. I took a couple days off, so I'm pretty fortunate that in that regard for this. Pretty excited. I'm almost more excited for this release than I was for End of Dragons, because this release seems a lot more replayable, honestly. You don't need to type to go to bed. It's fine. Seems a lot more replayable than the other expansions, honestly, with the new Wizard's Vault system. So I'm pretty excited in that regard. Let's see if my buy order filled. I feel like it might have, just because... Oh, it so did. Oh no, it didn't. Darn it. That was the maintenance oil. Crud! Well, I can cancel these Mystic Coins so I have them for tomorrow. I wonder if there'll be an initial spike of people panicking who don't read news articles of like, hey, no Mystic Coins. Rip. Thank you, Restream bot. Unhelpful. Yeah, vacation would be nice to play all this. Just play through all the content. Yeah, link it. I'm always down. I can't draw. I've been teaching myself incredibly slowly, so link any artwork. You might not be able to. Hang on. You might not be able to link it. Hold please. What are you on YouTube? I might not be able to change settings. I'm always down to see artwork, man, especially if people are talented. How do I change chat settings on YouTube? This is going to be a nightmare. Hold, please. I don't want to keep you up either. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Shima. No. I'm gonna give this a maximum of 90 more seconds of thought. You might be able to link it on YouTube. Just give it a shot. Unless you already tried. I might have. Might have only gone through on, I might have to grab it. Let me check here. Yeah, not as a link though. Just do it like, you know, whatever space, and then I'll have it fixed for next time. I'll give you permissions because you're a regular here. I actually, even though it's a tiny channel, I get so many spam bots. It's kind of gross. Thanks, YouTube. Yeah, I'll make sure I get that fixed next time. Sorry about that. It'd be really funny if I need to be a larger channel in order to enable it. I love YouTube because it's like got all these settings and then you go to where the settings are and it's like not changed like 2 weeks ago. That's no longer a setting. It's awful. Customization? Subscribers, live reaction, message delay, live chat replay. That's not helpful. Yeah, that's horrible. Thanks, YouTube. Oh, there it is. Unity. Defaults. Yeah, it's awful. Automated filters. This can redirect to my content. Block link. I don't have block links checked. It should work. Here, I'll toggle that off and on. Yeah, it should work on YouTube. I don't know. I'll look into that. It's kind of odd. I know you can't do it on Twitch, but I turned that crap off, but... If you can't link it here, shoot it to me in game or something. Shoot it to Salem. I'll show it off on stream next time you're around. I do want to see it though. I love art. Artists blow my brain out because I'm terrible. Gold getting Saitong province dailies done. No, it didn't appear. It didn't appear even in regular YouTube chat. At least not for me. I can go check. It did not get reposted in Twitch chat. Yeah, it didn't appear for me either. You could just throw it maybe in the comments of a video? I don't even know if you can leave comments on a live video. That's really weird. Oh. Yeah, you can shoot it to me on Discord. Hang on. Get you my Discord name. I think I did update it. Hopefully this doesn't pick up my Discord too much. Let me figure out what my actual name is on Discord. Never find it. Sudo. Helpful Discord. I can't. Profiles. Profiles? No. Unhelpful. Privacy and safety. Unhelpful. See what happens when I just try to paste this. Hold please. I think that's my name on Discord. Pretty easy. If I get a message request, forward me. Yeah. Doing dailies. Get it. That eventually. Oh, that is my name. User profile. Customize. It should be like right under your name, right? What you know people should message you as. Display name, server profiles, unhelpful. I'm old, I don't understand Discord. Yeah, username. Whatever. Oh, that's weird. What the heck? Oh well. Weird. It should be a little picture of Dante. Did that come up when you searched? Nothing in spam. Nothing in message. Well, I have a bunch of message requests, but friends, friend requests, manage requests. The last couple I have are people wanting to do Harvest Temple. Direct messages. Nothing new there. Apologies for the boring stream while I figure this out. I want people to be able to send me stuff, not just Kashima. Switch accounts, pseudo alias. Yeah, it should be that. There's two O's. Did you send it to two O's? PSEUDOOALIAS. PSEUDOO. There's two O's in that. I assume you just copy pasted it. Yeah, weird. And friends. Nitro. That's not it. Alright. I'm gonna be old and look up how Discord works to make sure that's my username. But username is like what people use to message people. Don't worry about it. I'll figure this out. You don't stay up too late. I don't want to keep you up. I might just make a Dropbox for the future where people can link stuff. Oh, that's horrible. You have to click on your icon. It's not your username. Hold please. Right this. I'll mention edit server profile. Huh. That's super weird. The last bit of this stream is just going to be me troubleshooting Discord. Of course, this article's out of date. I did check friend requests. I can check again. Friends. Pending. Are you also... Does your name start with AM on here? Because if not, I don't have one from you. Unless it's also Kashima. Because I do not have a Kashima on here. Never mind. I'm an idiot. There you go. Got it. I thought you sent me a message. We did it. We scienced it. It's all good. Sorry, I'm old and stupid, chat. I will make a Discord Dropbox for the future if anyone wants to shoot me artwork. I will absolutely show that on stream. People are awesome. Or just look at it. That's dope. You use this as like one of your characters or just for fun? There's a lot of these, I don't know, I can preview it. Discord might compress stuff, like the ever-living crap out of it. Discord's really bad for like file compression and stuff because it can only send 25 meg files. Oh, that's awesome. I highly encourage people to make stuff like that, especially if they're creative. I'm very slowly teaching myself to draw, and the dream is to eventually write a manga. But that's, you know, that's way down the line. I'm really torn with that because at the one hand, I would, if I was a creative, I would love if my thing could get made into a piece of art. But if, on the other hand, I would hate if someone like stole, you know, something you poured your life and soul into and have literally been working on like the plot and writing this down of like for years and years and years and stuff and making sure it's not crap. So if like you sold it to Netflix and then Netflix just like, you know, gave it one season and canceled it and then just owned the rights to whatever you made, that would be horrible. So I can't imagine what people like that must go through. I would love to just like release, you know, write all of it over like, you know, save up a bunch of money, retire, write all of it, and then just release it over the course of, you know, a couple months, and make like barely any money, but enough to keep it copyright protected from it. I think that would be like the ideal release structure someone could have for their work. Yeah, I try to link my friends' songs all the time, and Discord compresses the crap out of them even if they're not 25 meg, so that might be why. What else could we do? Almost done with prep anyway. I want to maybe make this legendary. We'll see how it goes. Make me a dagger. See what's involved in it. That'd probably be boring though. I don't know if people want to watch me make a legendary. Ah, it should feel good. This is beautiful. Alright, let's see what else I can do. You should definitely be proud of that. I want to check one thing. If you didn't know, there's this kind of copy website. It's called Kick. They just kind of literally ripped the source code off of Twitch when Twitch had that big link. I want to see if anyone's streaming Guild Wars on there, because if they're not, that might be fun. Guild Wars 2. My channel. I have 2 followers. Thank you, people. I don't know how, because I haven't streamed anything on Kick except for that intro video. How about the game? Like how it says it's in beta. Guild Wars 2. When I search Guild Wars 2, it doesn't come up. Is there a space in it? I should just make the channel Guild Wars 2 on Kick. Just like get that done. That'd be funny. If someone listed as playing Guild Wars 2 and he's just like streaming some kind of gambling card. No, this isn't Guild Wars 2. This is that Marvel card game. That's funny. Well, that's enough of that. Alright, cool. Look into that for the future. Yeah, alright. See if this legendary filled. There's someone outbid me. Extra slots, not worth it. Kind of lights, eh. Pretty ambivalent. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? Actually, right now? Yeah. I'm really glad that you could join, Kashima. Thank you so much. Before you go, I have one more tip for tomorrow. If you have some extra gold, do this. Like, do your gem conversion now if you don't want to spend real money on it. Because, this is gonna go up. I guarantee it. Let's just throw 2,000 gems into my account right now. Eh. That's funny. It already went up 3 gold. Yeah, it's tags. It's a wild world of broadcasting, man. I work in marketing. The auto AI generated bots are kind of getting ridiculous, but it's only going to get weirder. We're living in the end times, but no one thought that the world was just going to get stupider or stupider. Everyone was prepared for like nuclear war or zombies or whatever it is, but like no one was prepared for everyone to just get like really dumb. So yeah, it's getting weird. Let's see what else I want to sell from my bank before I make bad decisions at like 2 in the morning. Actually don't have a lot. I have a lot on my alt account still that I could grab. Might do that before tomorrow. Let's go through some of these and grab some of this stuff off them. Yeah, don't feel too bad. You're probably not going to miss much. I'm probably just going to wrap up the stream making a legendary and stuff and answering some questions if anyone has any. Got some strikes in, which was pretty fun. Got to talk about stuff. What time zone does the X-Pack go live? It goes live in 12.5 hours from now. See you, Kashima. Yeah. You too. Have a wonderful night. That was, again, thank you so much for the artwork. If anyone wants to shoot me artwork, always feel free. X-Pack goes live, no problem. 12.5 hours from whatever it is right now, so it's 9 a.m. PST. I am pretty excited about it. I don't know if I got this login. I may have, I may not have. What else can I do tonight? I could make that legendary. I don't know if I want to blow all my gold on that. Log off and harvest some stuff. I could do some roaming. PvP. I think that's pretty much enough. I love that this guy just doesn't attack you. But yeah, if anyone's wondering why I was like doing these logins, just to wrap things up, I do the End of Dragons hero points that are repeatable, as well as just getting that one that you can buy in End of Dragons on my thief that I did, because those are one of the easiest ways to get what are they called? The Imperial Favor that are needed for End of Dragons legendaries, and which is one of the most pain in the butt things to farm, just organically. So if you're ever wondering why I'm just like logging through characters in End of Dragons, that's why, because Imperial Favor is still not in the contracts you can get out of Black Lion Chest, and it is a pain in the royal butt to farm. The good chance if you see anyone like Lord Hyzen or anybody else with the 16 legendaries really fast, the arena ones, there's a good chance they bought at least some of them, because trying to farm 16 legendaries worth of that, even if you don't make the precursors, is it preserves the value of the legendaries, but it's just a pain in the butt. So I really recommend doing those hero points daily, if nothing else in End of Dragons. Yeah, I think that's about it for today. If you have any questions, I'll be around tomorrow streaming SotO. It'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully some balance notes. I'll try to do like just a news thing before we get started that I can hopefully rip into a video and throw up on the channel in a good way. And lots of shorts. I'll try to do one video for all of the data mines. If someone gets a concise data mine out there, I'll have a huge spoiler disclaimer before it. So, you know, don't worry about getting spoiled and accidentally clicking on that. Lots of shorts and stuff. Yeah. I'm SotO, lots of builds. If you have any questions, and if you just want to hear Warrior complaining all the time, hit me up. Hope you've enjoyed. Thank you for joining, guys. Daikuru Kashima, Meta right at the end there. People jumping in and out. Always, new people always welcome. And yeah, I will see you in a brave new world of SotO and lots of really weird and cool build opportunities. I hope you have a wonderful night. Cheers. I'll see you in Tyria. And I'll also see you in the Wizard's Tower.